What's going on, you guys? It's AskCat bringing you guys another video, and in today's World War II video, we're going to be jumping right back into the zombies guides for you guys with the DLC 4 map, the Frozen Dawn. And if you guys have been longtime viewers and you're wondering why I'm jumping directly into DLC 4 without doing DLC 1, 2, or 3, then I do have a prior video that I put up previous to this one that does a little bit of explaining as to why we're jumping directly into DLC 4, so I'll link that in the description below in case you guys are curious. But we are going to be jumping into the Frozen Dawn today with our first guide of the map, and that will be covering the Pack-a-Punch. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Thank you guys for being here, and see you guys in there. Alright, you guys, so for the sake of this guide, I went ahead and got to round 4, got 6,500 points, so that we would go ahead and be able to get through everything that we're going to be able to discuss in terms of the Pack-a-Punch for this guide. I am slightly under 6,500, like I was just saying, but I am just going to be getting those points right now when I do this part. And basically this part right here is essentially just a soul box you need to get 5 kills by in order to open up our first door to get into the map. So we're going to go ahead and get those 5 kills. Just go ahead and blow up these zombies, screw it. And that will go ahead and leave us a few so that we don't end the round. After we do that, we're going to go ahead and make our way down this tunnel into this ice cave's door for 750 points. Kill that corpse eater as quickly as possible, and depending on how many players you have, if you're playing solo, there will always be 1. If you're playing with any more than 1 player, I think it's pretty much always 2. So I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it's never more than 2 corpse eaters that spawn right here. Making our way down to the left side of the map, we're going to go into the Thulian Archives for 1,250 points, and then make our way to the bottom of these stairs, turn left again, and go to this passage door for 750 points. Go over to this button right here, and this is essentially the power button for the map. This will activate both the corpse eaters, which is the new zombie type of the map, and also it will simultaneously activate the Pack-a-Punch room throughout these teleporters. So we're going to need to go ahead and get all 3 of these teleporters opened by basically just opening each location where they are at. So this one's opened, the one in spawn is already open because obviously we spawned there. And then there's going to be a third one on the right side of the map, which we're going to be working our way through right now. You're going to have to go down there to activate that button, and then you can go ahead and work your way around this side of the map into the morgue for 1,250 points. Make your way down to the bottom of the morgue, and there's going to be another door for 1,250 points that will lead you into the phylactery. And then there's going to be another door over here to the right, which will be the final one we'll need to get before we reach our final teleporter location. So this room is called the Blood Altar, and this will contain our third and final teleporter spawn. And at this point, now that we have all 3 of these open, we can start going through each individual teleporter a single time. And as we do this, the Pack-a-Punch machine, rather, is going to slowly raise up out of this blood pool each time we go through a new teleporter. The big thing I'd like to stress here is that you need to go through each one of the teleporters, and if you're not making progress, the Pack-a-Punch machine is not raising up out of that blood pool, it's because you're going through a teleporter that has already been gone through. I went through the one down in the Blood Altar room, and I don't need to hit that one again, essentially is what I'm trying to get at here. So at this point, you're going to notice after you come out of these teleporters, every single time you do that, assuming that the Pack-a-Punch room button is activated, you're going to get 2 of these corpse eaters that will spawn and start trying to kill your zombies and potentially end your round, which can be very annoying. But yeah, just be aware that every time you come out of one of these teleporters, there are going to be 2 of those corpse eaters that will try to sit there and end your round. So if you're on your last couple zombies, you're going to really need to be kind of on your toes and nimble with getting those things taken out quickly. That being said, we're going to continue with the guide and continue going through our teleporters here. And something I found out while I was trying to record this in one of the past videos I was doing is that as you're teleporting, if zombies come in with you, they'll actually join you in the Pack-a-Punch room, which is not a fun time when you have like 3 pests follow you in. But yeah, so as you can see, we went through another one. It raised up yet again, and there's going to be one final one which we need to go through down by that power button, which is the one we were talking about being locked off. It will now be opened. The only other thing I can really think about talking about in terms of this guide that I do think would be crucial information is, obviously, like I said, every time you come out of these, there's going to be 2 of these corpse eaters that could potentially end your round, and it does kind of suck. It's kind of annoying. And because of that, I do like to, every single time I go in the Pack-a-Punch room, there will always be 4 zombies that spawn around the Pack-a-Punch machine because you always have those corpse eaters that spawn, I like to try and not kill those zombies that spawn in the pack-a-punch room, just on the off chance those corpse eaters get a lucky soul steal in, and they basically could potentially be ending off that round. So I'd rather have those extra zombies spawn back into the map than potentially have the round be forced by one of these annoying bastards. So at this point, I think, like I said, we just need to go through this teleporter, so I'm probably going to go ahead and let the round change. That way the cost of this resets, as you can see right there. And then we'll go ahead and go through here. This will actually reveal the pack-a-punch for us, because like I said, we've gone through all 3 of our teleporters at this point. Something big I'd like to point out right now, since we just revealed the pack-a-punch. If I did have the points, I would not be pack-a-punching right now. And the reason being is, just watch how quickly it'll pull me out of here. If I were to place down my gun, I would have just lost my gun. So what I recommend is, after you get the pack-a-punch open like I just did, we're going to go ahead and teleport back to the base map. And at this point, you can go ahead and teleport back again. And now is when I would suggest, anytime after this point, go ahead and pack-a-punch your gun. It's not going to matter nearly as much. It seems like if you do it on that first time it's revealed, it sends you in there for such a short period that you're more often than not gonna lose your gun, and aka the points that you just spent trying to upgrade your gun. So it can be very frustrating, especially if you're trying to get set up for a boss fight and you do that sort of thing right before a boss fight, and now you have to go get kitted up again because you lost your weapon. Definitely frustrating. Definitely wanted to point that out. And just use a little bit of caution in terms of when you decide to pack-a-punch your weapon. Another thing I would like to mention is I would not recommend pack-a-punching your weapon and then trying to pack-a-punch another one while in that same teleport. So I would probably pack-a-punch one gun, wait for it to teleport you back, and then say flip the round or something so the cost of the teleporter is down again, and then you could go and teleport again, pack-a-punch your second gun. The last thing I'm going to choose to cover really quick is the fact that there are 3 teleporters, but there is actually a total of 5. And that can be confusing, so let me explain. There's 3 that are required for the Pack-a-Punch guide that I just went over today. And then there's also going to be this teleporter right here, which you may have noticed at this point. And then there's also another one down in this tunnel if you've actually opened up the pathways to the Blood Bridge, which is this area down here right below me. So you may or may not have noticed this one right here, and this one in this tunnel, and gone, okay, how the hell do I get these opened, or what are these used for? This one specifically will never open unless you're ready for the boss fight and you're ready to go into the boss fight. So that is essentially your boss fight teleportation mechanism, and that will take you into that boss fight encounter and then teleport you directly back. And then once you're done with that boss fight, I believe the only thing that really gets used for is to go ahead and take you to that boss fight arena on the off chance you wanted to go back and like train zombies there or something like that. But other than that, I don't really know why they would even allow access back to it unless there's something else you could do in the boss fight after you finished the boss fight. That'd be kind of interesting for sure. And then this one down here, just to cover that real quickly, is tied to a side Easter egg, which is actually connected to these blood pads, and it basically sends you to a secret room, and it's tied to a Perkaholic Easter egg. So I'll go ahead and definitely be covering that at some point, but I just really wanted to explain what the other teleporters are for, and just get that out of the way in case you guys are kind of confused as to why there's teleporters that just didn't get used during this video. So I'm going back through things before I end off the video really quickly, and I did forget to mention that the power button we used to actually start this whole Pack-a-Punch process in the first place, that power button that once we press it turns red and starts glowing, that button is actually activatable and deactivatable. And what I mean is, it works in a sense that if you press it in order to do the Pack-a-Punch stuff, it will start spawning those corpse eaters and also allow you to go to the Pack-a-Punch room in the first place. If you were to go back to that button and deactivate it, it would basically turn those teleporters into something more along the lines of like Doris or the Giant from BO3. And I mean, it would basically just send you from teleporter location to teleporter location rather than working almost like Kino der Toten, where you teleport and then it sends you to the Pack-a-Punch room and then you teleport to another location. So I just wanted to go ahead and point that out, that the button is activatable and deactivatable, and then on top of that, if you were to deactivate it, it will actually stop spawning those corpse eaters. So it is useful for that. And then like if you already have your pack-a-punched weapons and you're just sitting there like, okay, it feels super unnecessary to be going to the pack-a-punch room right now, I don't even need to be here, you can go ahead and deactivate that button, and it'll basically just, like I said, send you from teleporter to teleporter rather than having that middleman of the pack-a-punch room basically stalling your progress in between the teleporters. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. As you guys can probably tell from the lengthy guide for this pack-a-punch guide, yeah, this was kind of a nuanced topic for this map in particular, because it does have some very interesting things about it that act a very specific way, and I really just wanted to go ahead and try to cover everything as best as possible. That way, if you're like a new player, you have everything that you could potentially need for information. Maybe even if you're just like stuck in your ways, like stuck in your particular route, maybe this will even call out some things that you just don't acknowledge because of how you play the map, like things you just straight up don't encounter because of the routes you take or the ways you actually go about doing the Easter egg. And I acknowledged a few things myself during this guide because I had to go break away from my normal route. So I really do think that this this Pack-a-Punch guide is a little bit more nuanced than I was expecting it to be, which is why the guide is as long as it is. So I do apologize for the length. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video. Thank you guys for being here. Hopefully I covered everything that you could really potentially need to know for this Pack-a-Punch guide on this map. And if there's anything that is causing you trouble, be sure to leave me a comment, and I'll be sure to get back to you as quickly as possible with the most grounded answer I could possibly give you for whatever problem you're having. I'm thinking the biggest problem you could potentially have, like I was saying before, is simply just like if you're playing with multiple people, not knowing which teleporters you went through is probably the biggest problem in terms of getting Pack-a-Punch open. Because, like obviously if somebody goes down through the Blood Altar one, and you didn't acknowledge they went through it, you go through it again, you're thinking, oh, okay, why did I not make any progress towards this Pack-a-Punch? It's because somebody already went through the teleporter that you just went through, essentially, is why the Pack-a-Punch machine in that room does not raise up an additional layer out of the blood. But yeah, so that's pretty much like the biggest issue I think you'd have on this map in terms of opening Pack-a-Punch. And I mean, apart from that, if you have, like I said, if you guys are having any other issues, definitely message me and get a hold of me, and I will be sure to reply as quickly as possible. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the next guide for you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.